Hello lovelies, my name is Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be doing something today that I don't normally do, and that's talk about something really serious in a serious tone. I normally like to make things kind of light and bubbly, but I wanted to talk about this properly, and so today I'm going to be talking about my recent breast cancer scare. Just before we start this video, I want to give a little bit of a service announcement. This video is going to contain graphic conversation about breast cancer. It's going to contain some triggering things about gender dysphoria, about not feeling welcome in certain places and things like that. So if you don't want to watch them, that is completely fine, and I will see you next week for another video. But for those of you that are staying and want to know more about what happened, here we go. Okay, and I just want to clarify as well to my subscribers and everyone who's been asking, I don't have breast cancer. All of my tests came back negative. So yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate. And I just wanted to tell you a bit about my experience and what kind of happened, and try and raise awareness and try and get anyone out there to check themselves and then go and have an appointment. Okay, so in like late April, early May, I noticed a lump on my right nipple, and it just kind of looked like bruising, but like hard bruising, and I also noticed one on this one as well. They were on both of them. So I noticed lumps near the nipples on both of my breasts, and I kind of left it for a bit. I just kind of, you know, didn't really think much of it. And then I went to Thorpe Park with my friend Beth. Shout out to Beth. Beth is the person who kind of sent me to get tested and told me to go and have it looked at. So Beth, thank you very much. I will include a picture of us from Thorpe Park right here just to kind of brighten your day a little bit. And she was like, let's have a look, and then she was like, go get tested and things like that. And so I booked a doctor's exam. I actually called 111 so that I could get a quicker doctor's appointment at my local GP here in London. I also spoke to my mum, who is a nurse who specialises in end-of-life care and like cancer patients and things like that. So I spoke to her and asked her what to do. And I went to have my appointment and had a breast examination with my general practitioner. This, and I'm not afraid to admit it, was a very affirming, terrifying thing to go through, but very affirming, having a breast examination, going through something that's kind of stereotyped as like a female kind of problem, and having my breast examination. My doctor, my local doctor, my GP was lovely. So I went to have my examination and she found the lumps on my this is my right, as I'm just going to say my right breast. She found the lumps on my right breast to be the most kind of concerning, because there were actually 4, there wasn't just the one. Few people actually know that in trans women, the kind of most common kind of hotspot area is in the kind of ductal region of the breast tissue, and that's where my lumps were. So I was actually referred to the breast cancer ward at my local hospital. So I went from my GP surgery to my hospital. This was an incredibly alarming thing to hear, that I was being referred to like the breast cancer ward, and that I had to go and have mammograms and then potentially biopsies and ultrasounds and things like that. I am only 24 years old, and it's very, the mortality rate in people who are younger is much higher. I had a lot of anxiety about what was going on and things like that. And so I went and got tested at the hospital. I waited a few weeks for my appointment, went to my appointment. This was probably the most challenging appointment I've been to for my gender dysphoria in a recent time. The questionnaire was not at all suited to a kind of broader audience. It was very much, you know, when was your last period? Is there a chance you're pregnant? And things like that. And it was just very not what I wanted to think about in that moment. My first appointment actually got cancelled because I got there and then the ultrasound machine broke. That wasn't ideal. So I had a consultation with the doctor at the hospital, and then I went in to have a mammogram and an ultrasound, and I took some really silly pictures of myself getting ready for that, which I will also insert here because I think they're quite funny. And in my ultrasound they found the lumps as well, and in my mammogram as well, and then they had to be biopsied. So I now have a little bit of scarring on my nipple area on this breast, to find out whether or not they were cancerous or not. And then 3-4 weeks later, I found out that they weren't. I had prepared myself for the worst, obviously, as you do. I was thinking to myself, you know, it's the cancer that has the most research, the most funding, it's the most commonly talked about and things like that. And my test results did come back negative, and as soon as they came back negative, there was a huge sigh of relief. My whole family had been aware of what was happening, and there was a big sense of relief from my family as well, because it was just a difficult time. It was like I'd been through everything I'd been through, and then to have that kind of thrown up. And found out I was negative and then went home. I wanted to go home as soon as I found out I was negative. I wanted to spend time with my family. And yeah, it was just a very traumatic experience. It looked like bruising when I found the lumps. It wasn't painful, and it wasn't an experience that was tailored to trans people in any way. And it's because I think that studies are really limited in trans people with breast cancer. Now, obviously breast cancer occurs in men and women and non-binary people and trans men and trans women, you know, anyone who has had any breast tissue and things like that. And there's an increased risk to trans women in relation to cisgendered men. It jumps up so much higher. I think it's in the 60% range, and it's just crazy to me that the process of being tested for breast cancer isn't somewhat gender neutral at this point, because answering some of the questions were really difficult and they were very intrusive, asking about your kind of gender identity, and it kind of made you feel a bit inadequate that you couldn't fill out certain portions of it. And yeah, it just wasn't, I mean, it was never going to be a fun experience, but it wasn't a brilliant experience. And it really took a toll on my mental health. Literally for 3 months I didn't know if I had breast cancer or not, so it was terrifying. It was difficult for me at work, it was difficult for me at home, just to kind of live my life. I mean, there's a couple of things I want to say at the end of this video. I'm going to see what I can do about working towards a time in our lives where being tested for breast cancer is more gender neutral. And I will keep you guys updated with what I do in regards to that. It might be a petition, might be some activism work, it might be more videos to raise awareness. I want to encourage everyone out there who's watching, anyone with breast tissue, trans women especially, to check yourself, give yourself a breast examination. I'll link a link to a video of how to complete a breast examination down below. I will also include a link to the breast cancer research charity as well. And just to say that my GP was brilliant. And although the hospital was a really difficult experience, that initial contacting the doctors was terrifying, but my doctors really put me at ease. And cancer mortality rates for people my age are so much higher because people often won't get things checked. Even if it's nothing, you should go and get it checked. Absolutely get it checked. And I suppose that's kind of it. I thought this was going to be a really emotional video, and I do feel quite emotional, but I think I've waited long enough from when I got my results back to now that it isn't as emotional as it was before. I'm very grateful for my health and to be happy and healthy. It gave me a different outlook, and it's part of the reason why I've been gone for so long. It was really weighing on me, but yeah. That is the story of my breast cancer scare. That is my experience. Thank you again to Beth for encouraging me to go and get tested, to my lovely mum, my GP, all of the people who've been sending me support and things like that while I'm being tested. I really, really do appreciate it. I know this was a really heavy topic today, guys, so I will try and make next week a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun, and I will see you then for another video. Bye!